So welcome to another UK Gravel Collective cycling vlog, and this is an experimental, well, it's not a vlog, is it? It's a podcast. Well, I'm getting my social media genres mixed up. Anyway, this is an experiment because I'm actually out on my bike, so there's potential for lots of wind noise, for it not to work at all, and for you to hear me fall off at some point. So I'm currently riding across some grass, and when you can hear the free hub, let's go. Well, if you can't, you just have to trust me. I'm currently by a massive obelisk and a grassy area in front of it, on top of the Licky Hills, locally known as the Monument. And it's February, and weirdly 2 weeks ago I was in short sleeves considering getting my knees out. The last few days has been proper bitter February, and I've only been out 3 miles I think, and I've already had to put waterproof on and off because of what seeming like April showers in February, which is not enjoyable because 2.5 miles of that 3 miles was straight uphill, and I'm feeling a bit warm now apart from my extremities, but I suppose it's better than being at work. I'm back on the road now, so you'll be hearing a bit of traffic as they queue up behind my slow moving pace. And I might hum a bit, but not in smell but actually in song, because I tend to do that when I'm on my own. Does anyone else do that? Sing to themselves really out of tune? And the more remote location, the louder the songs get. Oh, I hope this is recording, otherwise it's going to be a complete waste of time. Anyway, probably use all of my phone battery up. It's waffling, and no one wants to hear me waffle while I ride along the road. So let's find a bit of off-road, and it'll be a bit quieter. Yeah, but definitely interesting to see what the wind noise is like, because these little lapel mics do not have a little hairy hat, as my friend calls them, to cut down on the wind noise. And this gilet I've got on now, which I just swapped back from my waterproof jacket, it doesn't sound the rustliest to me, to the untrained ear, but it might do to something as sensitive like a microphone. Well, we've had a bit of rain the last couple of days, but it's incredibly dry. And this is the Licky Hills, and it's notorious because it's basically clay and leaf litter in most of the places, and there are the spots in the woods that locals avoid all year round because it's wet all year round. It's just deeply more wet in the winter, and just grim in the summer. Now, going along the edge of Monument Lane on the off-road version use, this is a bit rooty, because although a gravel bike is designed to go on the road and off-road, it's much more fun when you get it in the dirt. Oh, climb coming up. So there's also a warning in this that I'm not the fittest of riders, so you're going to be able to hear me wheezing and breathing. There'll probably be the sound of me sniffing snot, because we all do it, same as other bodily functions, although I'm not going to be recording any of those. I describe the scene, I'll stop. Whether you can hear the birds. Isn't that great? Just the sound of birds, a bit of wind whistling through the trees. Wind isn't so bad today as it has been the last few days. and some idiot on a gravel bike talking to himself. It's a good job that I've come out on a weekday and it's not the weekend, because this place is absolutely rammed with people at the weekend. And although I'm sure no one would say anything, that you would get some funny looks riding around talking to yourself whilst not holding a phone up to your face. So on today's episode, I want to talk about motivation really, and a bit of performance anxiety. And no, I don't mean that sort of performance anxiety. I mean when you desperately want to go on a ride and you've seen the other people who are potentially going to be on the ride, or the distance of the ride, or the elevation, or the potential weather on the ride, and you just feel completely daunted. Because I know I do. I mean, I'm not unfit. I'm also not the fittest person in the world. I'm now going over the dog walking paradise that is the Beacon. If anyone knows the area, it's the one with the little castle on top of the hill, and a lot of dog poo everywhere. Anyway, yeah. Oh, interesting. Lady's dog is eating its own crap. Lovely. Anyway, back to performance anxiety. Well, it might get a bit windy now on top of the hill. So, yeah, there's quite a few rides that I like the look of, but then I think, I'm going to be able to keep up. That's always the worry for me, that I'm going to ruin everyone else's ride by not being able to keep up with the pace, or not being technically skilled enough. I'm not worried about going downhill or anything like that, because coming from a more mountain bike background, I tend to throw myself down anything once and see what happens, so that's not a concern. But going uphill, because living near the Licky Hills, it's basically the only hill really, that and Clent and Waisley, but they're not really hills when you look at other places like the Lake District or the Peak District, where, I mean, around here they're probably just as steep, but they are nowhere near as long. So I'm thinking, you know, these rides could be 60 kilometres with 3,000 feet of climbing. I think, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that and keep up with the bunch and enjoy it, because I tend to be a bit of a meanderer really. I like to stop, look at the scenery, obviously take some photos, and yeah, take my time. Oh, I've come to a downhill bit now, so you're going to listen to me descend down this rooty bit, locally known as Bono, because it's close to the edge. Well, I think I'm going to stop at the end and check that the microphone's still attached after that, because it's a bit bumpy. And there's also a little section of steps here, so if you ever come for a ride with me, I might take you down these steps. You don't have to hook off them, they're easy rollable. Well, I've just stopped and checked that the microphone is still attached, and it is. And so far it seems to be recording alright, so experiment okay so far. So we carry on if you're still listening. And now going down the local trail known as the Tank Slapper, because you get some speed up, and right at the end there's always a very wet. In the winter it's hang on to the bike and see what happens scenario. Today there's definitely a dry line forming through there. Yep, that was easy, just roll that. Anyway, so yeah, performance. So it's sort of stopping me going on rides with other people. I don't know whether anyone else suffers with this, And the thing is, 9 times out of 10, if I do turn up for these rides, I keep up fine and everything's great, everyone's friendly. And I hope that if anyone comes on a ride with our little group, that they don't feel intimidated like that, because we're just out for a laugh basically. We're not Strava rights. We don't go for sections. We might go as fast as we can down stuff, but just because it's fun, not because we're trying to beat each other. And the other thing is, I mean, I watch YouTube quite a lot. I've got my own YouTube channel, and I hope anyone listening will subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just search for UK Gravel Collective or UK Gravel Co on YouTube. Click the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, and you might have a laugh at some of the videos, because they're definitely not professional. And the other channel on YouTube that I watch a lot and I really like is a channel called Keep Smiling Adventures, and that's a young guy, well, young compared to me probably, who does loads of bike packing, and it's very inspirational, but on the other hand it sort of completely puts me off, because he does lots of wild camping. And I was watching an episode yesterday where he rode from Bournemouth, where he lives, to the Tan Hill Tavern, which is the highest pub in Britain, on top of the Yorkshire Dales. And I think it took him 5 days. He stayed one night with his sister on her couch, but the rest of the time he was just sleeping in a hedge. And it looks great. And yeah, I mean, the reason I like the channel is because he does it warts and all. If he's struggling, he'll say so. You know, he'll video himself out of breath, sitting on the bench, destroyed. But he'll also be showing you fantastic sunsets, downhills that go on for ages, and that's really inspirational. But I just don't know, just haven't got the confidence to go bike packing. So this year, I said I wouldn't do New Year's resolutions, but it is the end of February, so it doesn't really count. I'm going to go bike packing. So I haven't got any kit. I've got a tent that probably weighs 7 kilos, which is for car camping. I can chuck it in the back of the van. So I need a lightweight tent that I can carry. And what else do I need? I need a sleeping bag, sleeping mat, cookers and stuff. I'm fine. Probably for the first year I'm going to be riding to campsites, so they have facilities, but I would like to try while camping. I've got mates that I ride with and they do it. It's really difficult. I know if I do it, I'll probably enjoy it and everything will be fine, but I just find it really daunting to get over that initial hurdle. Is anyone else the same as that? I'm going to pause there because there's a bit of a road section now and no one wants to hear me riding on the road. I'm now on a little climb, excuse me, where I come to test mud tyres when it's really greasy. Some good off camber bits and it's quite steep. Check out ukgravelco.com for those reviews. There's one on Hutchinson Tundra tyres, and there's one coming soon when I've finished riding it about on some Pirelli Cinciaratto soft condition tyres, which those have definitely been tested locally, and I feel if they work anywhere, they work here in the clay and the slime that we get in winter, they'll work anywhere. Anyway, so back to performance issues. Is that the right phrase, performance? I don't know. Anyway, I've been invited to do some rides with the Wild Cycles guys, and the itinerary is like 60 kilometres a day off-road for 4 days with 2,000 feet, I think, of climbing. Or maybe it's meters, I can't remember. Anyway, I'm looking at it and thinking 4 days. And I know that you don't have to carry your kit. They sort out the meals. All you got to do is look after yourself and follow the route. But okay, am I fit enough to do 60 miles a day? 100 kilometres a day? After 4 days in a row? With all that climbing? And all I can see is numbers. I can't see the actual potential fun of it. Which is wrong, isn't it? But there you go. So anyway, that's what I wanted to get off my chest, really. And if I've told you lot listening that I'm going to go bike packing, then I've sort of got to do it. Otherwise, you'll be messaging me, telling me, or asking me why not. Anyway, so well, hopefully you will. And hopefully you lot can motivate me to go bike packing, and also let me know what lightweight tent that you use. I've got my eye on some, and I'll try and get in touch with a few companies to see if what they recommend. So if anyone in the bike packing business is listening in, message me at gary@ukgravelco.com and let's have a discussion about what you think is the best bike packing kit and why yours is better than anyone else's. Right, so I got to the top of the climb now, and there's a massive grassy descent. I've got a tackle which you can come down with me. Actually, weather has picked up a bit. I'm glad I just didn't carry on wearing my waterproof jacket because I would be absolutely sweating now. Fingers crossed that the rain is not going to come back. It wasn't forecast for today, so a bit angry about that. So another gate to negotiate. These are all bridle paths, by the way. They're not nothing cheeky about this route. Obviously you can hear that gate, and it's a bit weird not doing this on camera because obviously I've got to describe to you what I'm seeing. So I'm at the top of the Waisley Hills, looking down on the scar that is the M5. And I'm about to start a grassy descent down towards Chadwick Manor. Right, here goes. The trouble with this, that rattling you can hear is my enamel mug. I've got a hot beverage with me that I'm going to drink at some point. Anyway, this grassy field is used by cattle, so it's usually bumpy because obviously the cattle follow the best line and they make the best lines, so I'm following them. Thankfully it's pretty dry today, so you don't have to start braking half a mile before the gate, which you do in the winter because you just lock up front and rear and actually speed up when you put the brakes on, which, as I'm sure you all know as cyclists, or can appreciate if you're a non-cyclist, is not good. Overheated that brake. So the other thing on this podcast is a bit of a news update, really, industry news. If I can do that, because I went to the Core Bike show at Whittlebury Hall the weekend before last, and it's not the first time I've been to the show. It's predominantly for dealers and distributors to show off the new stuff to the people in the shops, and the online guys and try and get some orders for the new season. And well, you all know that there's been boom and bust in the cycle industry because of COVID and the supply issues, and you may notice that a lot of the big companies are heavily discounting their bikes at the moment. So I wasn't really sure what I'd expect to find when I got to the show, whether it would be doom and gloom and not a lot of people there, or totally the opposite. And I'm happy to say it was totally the opposite. A lot of positive conversations actually, and it was nice to see. And this is not just the distributors who are selling the stuff to the shops, this is actually the shopkeepers as well. A lot of them are quite optimistic, which is great to hear, because the bike industry, and I've worked in the bike industry before now, traditionally December, January, February are the very quiet months, and people start getting their bikes out around now at the end of February, ready for the new season, and everything goes absolutely mad. But from what I could glean, orders are good. Probably not for complete bikes, but definitely accessories, kit, all the new stuff. Bike packing is going to be enormous again this year, and lots of new stuff coming out from various companies. But also, as I said, talking to people who run the shops, they're quite optimistic as well. And I actually did a stint in my local bike shop last week to cover some holiday absence, and I have to say that they have got 4 to 5 weeks work booked in for maintenance and servicing and upgrades, and you know, there's people sort of in a queue waiting for that, so that's brilliant. So that's guaranteed them some work going forward. Bike sales, they're still ticking along. Obviously it's not like 2020 when all you could do was go out on your bike or go for a walk, so bikes were in massive demand and there was a shortage of them, but people are still coming in, people are still buying bikes even though there's a credit crunch. And as you can see now, I'm going up, well, it's basically a stream bed. Luckily today it's not got running water on it, but there are polished pebbles all the way up this, and it's all uphill, so you can hear me heavy breathing, you can hear me snotting, so apologies for that. Well, no, I'm not going to apologise because this is what happens. So yeah, back to the bike shop. I talked to quite a few customers, and they're all inquiring about bikes for the new season, which is great. And there is stock there. The big companies have got a glut of it, but they tend to be the high-end stuff, or the really low-end stuff, and the middle ground where people might want to begin on or want to upgrade from the entry level. They're the scarce bits, but stuff's coming through. And it's all positive really. I think if bike shops can get through the next 2 or 3 months, then I think things will start getting back to relative normality. In fact, the shop I was working in, the Cycle Studio in Redditch, I've got a gravel event on the 18th of March that some of you might be interested in if you're listening before the 18th of March 2023. I think it's about a 30-mile route from the shop. The shop's well stocked. I've got coffee machines. I think they're even getting a tea urn in for the day. So I'll put the link down below and on my social medias, and it's called Down in the Ditch because it's based in Redditch where the shop is. So check that out. I've ridden all of the route because it's my local stuff, and there's some interesting stuff, some that might catch a few people out, but it's all enjoyable. It's all good local trails, and you can park at the shop if you come from afar, and the ride also pops through the Digbeth Dining Club Redditch version, so there'll be lots of street food vendors. You can get a beer if you want, if you're not driving, or if someone else is driving. But at the shop, Kinesis bikes are going to be there, white bikes are going to be there, so you can check out their latest stuff, have a chat to the guys who design and sell the bikes, and just come and have a look around the shop. I'll be there. That's probably an incentive, but there you go. So yeah, all looking positive on the bike shop front, really. Obviously, there are going to be people who don't make it, and there have been quite a few closures, but on the whole, I'd say things are looking positive. So back off the main drag again, and actually in a place called Iverley, I think, which is just about in Kinver, and not far from Stourbridge town centre, which is where I've just been and had a chat to the guy in a shop called Big Willy's Bike Care, which is pretty much Stourbridge's only decent bike shop now. And he confirmed what I've found out from the Core Bike Show, that they're very busy. Lots of bikes in for repair. They're an Oro bike dealer, and they've got bikes in there from that company, and a really nice shop. And even better, there's a really nice deli 2 shops up, where I had a tuna, mayo and sweet corn sandwich, and sat on the sofa in Big Willy's Bike Care, and graciously the guy in there let me eat my sandwich in the warm. So I've come back out now where it is raining, and you can hear that, and about to tackle, I think it's called John Outy bridle path, which is very sandy, in fact. So I'm making my way back home now. It's open fields with a hedge on one side. The sandy track I should say, in the summer can get quite deep, and makes riding on it interesting, in inverted commas. But right at the moment it's damp and it's been compacted down, and does get horses on it who also compact it down, so it's pretty easy going. Hello. And as you can hear, it's a popular walking path, but it is a bridle path, so no issues there. Oh yeah, it's definitely sandy now, and it's definitely got a lot of horse muck on it. Oops. Open fields, ploughed. Let's go in the deep bit. Oh yeah. That's hard to go in. You need a fat bike tyres on this stuff, with nice low pressures. And again, for some reason, I decided to talk to you while I'm going uphill. So yeah, that's pretty much it really for this podcast. This was a bit of an experiment really, to see whether I could record whilst riding. Obviously I probably won't know that until I get back and try and edit it, whether it's too quiet or rubbish or keeps dropping out, but hopefully it will mean that I can do some interviews out while riding, which I think is pretty cool. I'm not sure that a lot of other podcasts do that. I think Unpaved did with Catherine Moore back in 2020, I think, which was sort of the inspiration for this. And so anyway, let's see what happens. Let's see whether it actually records, which is a stupid thing to say, because if it doesn't, you'll never hear this. So thanks for watching. Oh no, see, I've done it. I think I'm back on YouTube. So thanks for listening to the UK Gravel Collective Cycling Podcast, live here from a field not far from Kinver, not far from Stourbridge. See, that tuna sandwich hasn't kicked in yet. But thanks for listening, and I hope you can put up with all the mistakes. There's probably background noise. There's a bit of background noise. And tune in for the next one. Hopefully, if some of the guests I've got lined up come to fruition, it should be interesting. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you on the next one.